Welcome back to the Mid-Year Mitch YouTube channel. In today's episode, I have a new family member to introduce you guys to, Lucy, the 55 Chevy, and I have a few big announcements. Like, I just got married this past weekend, so be sure to stick around. This is the first time that I get to unveil a car to you that is not a project, and this is the nicest looking vehicle that I've unveiled in this manner. So here is our 55 Chevy Bel Air that I picked up a couple months ago from New York. Now this car, I'll go into more of why I got it, but we got it for our wedding to use as a picture car. In case it rained, which it did on our wedding day. So this was the contingency car. My red car in the garage doesn't go out whenever it rains. So this car is a really solid car. You have to drink this in, but 33,000 original miles on it. I had 32 whenever I bought it. We put a few miles on this old girl, but this is a really nice car. Got it out of New York. It was originally sold in Ohio, where it lived most of its life there. And the guy who had it hardly drove it, and whenever he died, he passed it on to his grandson, who didn't really know how to operate this vehicle because there are 3 pedals on the floor, and that confused him. So he took it to a shop and they did a mechanical restoration on it. They went through the brakes, went through the engine, transmission, they went through all that stuff. $7 grand later, he had a car and he still couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work, so he sold it to the guy that I bought it from, who also had another 55 Chevy, and turns out it was just a bad clutch. So they did a lot of preventative maintenance on this car, and it was painted, if I could guess, probably 30 years ago in lacquer. You can see it's got a bunch of cracks and crazes in it, but I think that adds some really cool, you know, it's patina. It's a really cool character. You don't have to be afraid to drive it. You don't have to be afraid to get it wet. And you don't have to be afraid of chips because it already has some. Everything is in really nice shape. All the trims here, like I said, it's a Bel Air, so it's got all the trim and stuff on it. And the interior is very original. I don't think anything was ever replaced. You can see that there's a little bit of wear on the door panels, but I mean, come on, 70 years old. This is just really nice. The carpet could use some freshening up. I think that would really do it wonders. The seat foam itself is kind of giving out on this side, so maybe we get these covers cleaned up and just get some new foam in it. But you can see we just ticked over 33,000 miles, so it's a very nice original car. Dome light works, headliner's in nice shape, and on the door you can see here's our mileage from 89. It had 28,573, and just listen to this door. I mean, come on. They don't make stuff like this anymore. All the doors close just like that. Everything's in really nice shape. It's just a comfy car. I did put new tires on. I have to clean them up again, but I put radials on. It had bias plies, which rode horribly. It was kind of a sketchy experience. I like radials a heck of a lot better. So she's a nice rig. And if we go under the hood here, which first of all, I mean, why don't they do stuff like this anymore? I mean, that is one of the coolest views, if sitting behind the wheel, looking over the hood. And under here, we don't have a straight 6. We have, well, I haven't checked the numbers. I believe it's the original 265 that was rebuilt. So this, they pulled it out, went through that. It has a new exhaust manifold on it. The exhaust does leak, so that's something else I have to do. I bought it as a running driving car, but it's turning into a little bit of a project because this is very original under the hood, and the whole car is very original. It's not just original like our Vettes in the garage where we've restored them to be original. This is more original as in, this is the way it was in 1955. As in, this radiator is from J of 55, and this isn't a reproduction radiator. I doubt it was record. I'm guessing that this is the 100% original radiator that it left the factory with, which kicked the bucket on Sunday whenever I was driving home from the wedding. So that's fine. I have a new one in the shop, a new aluminum one that I'm just gonna paint black, throw some new heater hoses in it, and then, you know, we're sure all that's sorted out. So we're gonna have to start touching a few things in here, but it looks like the generator was gone through. The carburetor was rebuilt, but we had some issues with the carb. The float was too big in it, and it was interfering with the inside wall of the float bowl, and it was just getting caught up and causing gas to come shooting through the vent, which is why I didn't end up shooting a video on this car in the first place. So we got that fixed, and I put a fuel filter on it and a new fuel line, and then the fuel pump started leaking. So I put a new fuel pump on it. The other one, I think, was a Delco, new old stock one. It was one that crimps on, the bottom crimps onto the housing, and it was just leaking in the seam. So I just put a new replacement one on it, so we're good. So it has a new tank in it already and a new sending unit, and I think the line's pretty decent. So now, fuel system wise, we're in good shape. It still has the big old oil bath air cleaner up here, and like I said, everything's original. Everything seems to work real well. It's just a good, happy car. We did have to end up running the wipers on this dude, which I've never used vacuum wipers before, so that was interesting, but I did put some Rain-X on them first. And if we hop in here, don't have the key on me, like I said, the radiator kicked the bucket. I would show you in the trunk. It's really nice and solid. But so now story time. Whenever I bought the car, the gas gauge was pegged over here like it is now, but it was like that when it was running. So I assumed E is over here. So that means that this is half tank, 3/4, quarter, and empty. And I put some gas in it on the way home from the gentleman we bought it from, and the gas gauge went over here somewhere. So like, okay, we're good. So that means I'm around half a tank, and that's a quarter. We're good. So I'm driving the day of the wedding. Should have got gas earlier in the day. Didn't. We made it to the venue, did all the pictures, did all the stuff. The car performed great. Then when I'm leaving the venue, the gas gauge is like right, hardly on the right side of that dot. And we start going up this next hill, and we're going, so I grab second gear, shuts off. So I'm like, crap. All the gas sloshed to the back of the tank. We're in bad shape. A gentleman pulls up and thought it was his buddy's car, and he brought us a couple gallons of gas. That got us up the hill to another gas station that happened to be closed. Turned out gas stations in the middle of nowhere don't stay open all night. So we tried to limp it to another gas station, ran out of gas. So we had to end up parking it in a gas station or in a Arby's parking lot overnight. Next day I brought 5 gallons of gas, drove to the gas station that we went to the night before, filled it up, and the needle goes to that dot, not over here. So it turns out I don't know my car, and that's full, that's half, and that's empty. So it turns out I was out of gas, not just low. So luckily we didn't run out the day of. I should have filled it up. So now I learned the hard way that you gotta put gas in it to make it go. So that's fun, you know. But everything's in nice shape. We learned our lesson, and then the radiator kicked out, and then the exhaust developed a leak. But overall, nice solid rig. Like I said, it's a single exhaust pipe on this rig. If I get underneath it, you can see there's quite a bit of original edge under here. Everything is got a little bit of surface rust on it, but there's no real bad rust. You can still see paint. And if you look right about there, there's, okay, bring you guys in, there's several holes in the tailpipe. So I think I'm just gonna upgrade the whole exhaust system. Maybe give it a little bit louder muffler, because, well, you really can't hear anything with this exhaust. It'd be nice to hear it a little bit. And maybe I'll do something custom. Instead of using this little tip, I'll use Mid-Year Corvette exhaust tips and kind of sink them in a little bit just to give it a different look. And it's a Mid-Year Mitch look. So that's kind of the plan for this rig. Doesn't have any seat belts, so it'd be nice to kind of put seat belts in it and just do some little stuff. This isn't going to be a full-blown restoration. It is what it is. We're going to drive it. The biggest things I want to do, like I said, to make it more mechanically reliable, and then fix some stuff on the interior. I really think it could use a set of carpets, and some floor mats. I think that would go a long way. Eventually, maybe we get this. I don't want to get into the snowball of where you put seat covers and foam on it, then you got to do the door panels. And if you do the door panels, you may as well do the headliner. I don't want to get into that. It's good enough the way it is. It gets the job done. It's clean enough, but the seat does need to be gone through just because it sags a lot. So we'll see what we end up getting into. We might be able to clean some of this and bring it back around. Like you see, some of the stitches are popping out in some areas. So who knows? Maybe it's just cheaper to have some stuff recovered and get some new kick panels or whatever. But I mean, it lasted in the car 70 years, so we may just leave it the way it is. I don't know. Tell me what you think. What do you think about this old rig? But it drives great. It's got 4-wheel drums with a single master cylinder, but it still drives good. You just gotta, going downhill, you really gotta put your foot into it, you know. But it drives good. It's a good little rig. Turned heads. We had people beeping at us when we were driving down the road with this thing. It's just a good old car, so I'm pretty fired up about this dude. I hope you guys like this project. Like I said, it wasn't supposed to be a project, but it kind of is now. But hopefully you enjoy it, and it's going to be showing up more on the channel. And everybody's like, well, what are you going to do with it now? You got married. What's your plan for it? I think it's going to be one of my going to town rigs. This is the family version. We have the Vettes which come out on beautiful days. Days like this, I really don't want to bring my red car out and take it to work or take it anywhere. So perfect for this old guy. I can take this car, which we've named her Lucy. So Lucy will be the going to town rig, go get ice cream, go cruising somewhere. It'd be cool to take it to a drive-in or something. So we'll see. It's a good cruiser that we hopefully get our use out of. And like I said, we already put some miles on it from whenever I bought it, so we're just gonna keep enjoying it. I just wish they did stuff like this nowadays. Look at this dash, all the Chevy bow ties on it, how clean the gauge cluster is. It's just the script. Everything was so classy back then, and the color schemes they had back in the day were absolutely amazing. Like, I believe we saw at the Corvette Museum that they had a bunch of women working in GM's color departments back then to make sure they came up with interesting textiles for the seats, cool color combinations both inside and out, and you can clearly see it. I mean, look at this thing. It just jumps out at you. This is such an iconic 50s car. What's more American, what's more 50s than a Tri-5 Chevy? And as much as I love my Challenger, I feel like we could use more women in the styling departments nowadays, because gray, black. Look at every car you see on the road. It's either gray, black, white, tan, silver, maybe blue, occasionally red. Like, where'd we go wrong? Just help me understand. The 50s was definitely the best time period for style. You just tell me I'm wrong. Come on. So like I said, this car has 33,000 original miles, and I don't know if the steering wheel's been refinished or not, but man, I don't see a crack on it. There's a couple little scuffs and nicks, but it's in great shape. The horn works beautifully. It won't scare the crap out of my dad. He's in the garage. The pedal pads, I know Derek on Vice Grip Garage always looks at those for wear, and I mean, can you get much more crisp than that? Like I said, she's got 3 pedals, and if we got our bolt action rifle here, so reverse, first, second, third, I mean, it shifts great. I know a lot of people complain about 3 on the tree shifters. The one I had in the Biscayne was horrible because all the bushings were worn out and it just had a lot of slop. But this one, I'm telling you what, she's tight. The only thing that I have to pay attention to is, well, it's only got 3 gears, and you got to really be paying attention. You got to follow all your rules. Sometimes you can get away with things in a stick car that you can't in this, like first gear's not synchronized, so you got to be at 100% at a complete stop to be able to get her back into first. And other than that, second and third, it just cruises right between the two of them. So it's a pretty simple rig to operate. You know, we got the deluxe options on the door, the handle for the open the door, our security lock for the vent window, obviously your vent window control. You know, you got your nice AC. This is the best thing ever. I don't know why they got rid of them. They're fantastic. A little mirror. I mean, this is a rig. The speaker grill has something sticking out of it. Speaker grill, the clock that's right twice a day. And the AM radio does work. It also has the original manual in here. It also has an old newspaper clipping in here, which may have been from where this car was actually purchased. It has your different flavors of 55 Chevy you can get with your different transmission options and your different engine options, which is pretty cool. And then it has just some random stuff on the back, like sharp cheese, 69 cents a pound with a free plastic bag. I mean, these were the days. Chuck roast, 43 cents a pound. Pancake flour, I didn't really use special flour. White bread, 2 loaves, 29 cents. Effective January 13th through January 15th of 1955. Well, so this very well could be the newspaper clipping that somebody saw in their paper. They took it down to their Chevrolet dealership and bought this car, which is pretty cool. And I don't know who, again, I don't know who was the one that was doing this, if it was a little kid, but somebody took their maintenance very seriously. We took a lot of notes, like every third word is underlined, window regulators and controls. There's a lot of stuff here that I may have thought would have been a little self-explanatory, but they wanted to make sure they were on their fluid checklist. You know, they were really concerned about the dirt and the dust. Touch-up, they were interested in the touch-up paint. Didn't really care about inflating the tires too much. Nothing with the automatic, obviously. Manual, all the notes. We got to make sure we got the push to start. And we got all of the notes here. So someone was very interested here and engaged, which is pretty cool. Again, I don't know what year that was done, but it was kind of interesting that somebody went through this and clearly read it and was engaged enough to take some notes. So that's pretty rad. It's just a cool old car, and hopefully we'll get her back up and running here soon, and I'll be able to take you guys for a cruise when we get the new radiator in and the new exhaust system. So if you're wondering why we bought ourselves a 55 Chevy for the wedding, there's a couple specific reasons. One, Maddie really likes 50s cars, and we were at Spring Carlisle, and she really liked a 55 that was basically this car's twin that we saw there. She loves this color blue, she loves the 50s, so we thought it'd be really cool to get this car. The other reason is my grandma and pap on my mom's side got married in 1956, and this whole time I thought they had a 56 Chevy. I wanted to recreate some of the pictures that they had on their wedding day. So I'll show you the picture up on the screen, but there was a picture that was shot right about here that I wanted to recreate. Literally went through this whole endeavor just to get that picture. So we bought this car and got married. I've been telling everybody this story, telling everybody that it was a 56 because that's what it looked like in some of the pictures that I could see. But I just found some new pictures just today before I filmed this because I wanted to know what pictures to put in this video. And it turns out it was actually a 55. They had a black on black 55 Chevy. So turns out I did the right thing. I accidentally bought the right car. I thought I was making a little creative, you know, adding my own creative twist to it by buying a 55 Chevy instead of 56, but they had a 55. In some other pictures, there was a 56. There was actually this color combo that had a visor, but that wasn't his car. So, learn something new every day. So we accidentally bought the right car for the photo shoot, which was really cool. So it was really cool and nostalgic to be able to do something like that to show my gram. And I don't know how well she got to look at the car because it was kind of a crazy day, but she said it brought back a lot of memories. And as soon as she saw it, she was like, we have one of those. So that was really cool. Growing up, I didn't really get to talk to my pap a whole lot about he called them Chevys. Didn't get to talk to him a lot about his Chevys, but I knew he really liked them. Like I said, I always thought it was a 56, but he had a 55, and he really was fond of that car. So it's kind of cool. It kind of brings it full circle, brings it home. And I know a lot of my family was excited to see this car and to kind of complete the dot. So we have a comparison of those two pictures, which I think is pretty cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. This was definitely a nostalgic thing to do this because I had the ability to. I thought it'd be really fun to do something like that. Maddie was on board. The photographer loved it and the family loved it. So, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. I think it's important to remember stuff like that and to pay tribute. And it was just something fun and hopefully made a few people smile. And I know my pap's brother had a 55 very similar to this, so the whole time of the wedding he was asking if it was for sale, and whenever I ran out of gas I may have told him that it was for sale. At the time I wasn't very happy with it, but that was my own mistake. I can't blame Lucy for that one. So Lucy's gonna need a little bit of love, but basically she's coming out of retirement. I can't tell you how many miles were put on it before we bought it. I mean, we know that there was 4,000 miles put on it since 1989. So, you know, do the math. That's not a lot of miles per year, assuming it was parked for several years. So we put her on the road. I drove her around here for a while and found the fuel issue, got that sorted out. I probably put, I don't know, 100 miles on it before. And then the day of the wedding, it was about an hour drive each way. So, you know, we ran her through her paces. It was hot out. We were running her at 45 to 60 miles an hour. So she did really good, all things considered, for coming out of retirement. But she's going to need a little bit to wake her up, because she's not just going to sit in a garage and coast her way, getting another, you know, 5,000 miles in 30 years. So we're going to get some use out of this old girl. So you guys will be seeing her more on the channel. So I hope you enjoy. And I hope to come up with a couple different video series with this car to give us something fun to do in the meantime. But that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, we'll have some more updates coming on Lucy. Got to put a new radiator in it, new exhaust, and we have some interior work to do. So it's going to be a fun car to mess around with and cruise with. And like I said, I'll try to come up with some more stuff to do with this car just to keep it interesting. And we have it. We may as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments. Did you have a Tri-5 back in the day? What's your favorite year? 55, 56, 57? Chevy or Pontiac? You know, throw it down in the comments. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. But next week we'll be back on the 67 Corvette, and there's actually another project coming from Utah unexpectedly. So that'll be coming up in a future video in a couple months. We got a lot of stuff going on. But I got a lot of work to do, as you can see. So I'll catch you guys later.